Friends, countrymen, classmates. Today we're brought together to argue and give persuasive speeches about things. Well, I've chosen as my topic something that I know a lot of you have deep feelings about, and that is Santa Claus. But I'm going to take a stance that's very unpopular. I'm going to tell you, and you're going to believe me at the end because of my persuasive skills, that there is no such thing as Santa Claus. Argument number one. Let's assume that it only takes this alleged Santa Claus 30 seconds to get to the child's house on the roof, to descend the chimney, to disperse the gifts, to ascend the chimney, and then to get to the next brat. 30 seconds. Let's say it just takes 30 seconds for that. Between the hours of midnight and 7 a.m., that means he could service only, get this, 840 children, and I know there are many more than that in the world. Another thing is Rudolph's nose. A glowing nose, let's pretend that it does glow, but a glowing nose cannot possibly penetrate fog. No siree. And even if it did, pilots do not navigate by what they see on the ground. That's not how it's done, kids. Read a how-to book. Might get you somewhere. But let's just say that Rudolph's nose can penetrate fog. Fog is on the ground, it's not in the sky. Why would he need to penetrate the fog? Maybe he should penetrate that thick fat that's in the head. Fat head. So reindeer propelling this sled seems like a good idea. But if you studied anything about engineering or about aircraft, an open sled is not aerodynamic. So if it's pulled through, have you ever flown a kite and it just goes, doo-doo-doo, peaceful kite, blah, boom! Well, the sled wouldn't do that, but it would turn around and around. Reindeer propelling the sled, oh, all the presents dumping down on the ground. And seriously, if Santa Claus did ride an open sleigh like that, wouldn't the government find some way to put bombs on it and whatever kind of city's destroyed, it would just be an apology like, oh, we didn't know that an open sled isn't aerodynamic. So, Santa Claus can lead to war. And another thing about the open sleigh is it's open. Santa Claus is exposed to the elements. He could die of hypothermia. Even on the ground, most cases of hypothermia develop in temperatures between 30 and 50 degrees Celsius or Fahrenheit. I forgot which because it just has that zero over it. I'm not a mathematician. But most cases develop between those temperature ranges, and that's on the ground. The further up you are, unless you're on the sun, the colder it is. Maybe that's true on the sun. But anyway, Santa Claus would die because even in Alaska, which is far south of the North Pole, even on a summer day in Alaska, temperatures never rise over 40 degrees, hypothermia to your face. And Santa Claus cannot live in the North Pole. The only thing that's in the North Pole are some unmanned stations. Why? The North Pole is not land, it's ice, ice-covered ocean. So if Santa Claus were to want to go into the basement, for instance, he would die. His last words would probably sound like, oh, I'm just going to see how the elves are. Get away from my ballsack. I know that I look like a high-calorie prey item, but you've got to go away. Very tragic. But hopefully a killer whale would kill Santa. Let's just say that Santa Claus had the technology to make a basement in ice-covered ocean, the North Pole. Elves live there. Elves are woodland creatures. You may think that they can be like people and they can adapt to the Arctic, but they can't. They're woodland creatures, something about the spirit of the woods. If you've never played Dungeons & Dragons, you know what I'm talking about. So, the conclusion is it's dangerous to perpetuate this myth. Why? Because it teaches kids to mistrust parents. That's right. Because they're one day going to find out that you lied to them about something that they hold dear. Yes, you. Liar pants. Do you want your kids to have the memory that their most treasured thing of the year is a scam? Well, to be honest with you, I pretended to believe in Santa Claus just because I thought if I admitted that I was mature, I wouldn't get any more gifts on Christmas. So maybe that's why I was in a school psychiatrist or something like that, or, you know, bad memories. It's not unusual. So you made me talk about myself, because when you don't talk back, I think you're interested in me, and I start sharing things about myself. All right, so this myth of Santa Claus teaches kids that the world is different than the way it really is. How dangerous is that? So, not only did I persuade you today, but I'm going to give you some advice to improve the world for future generations. We're doomed, but our future generations are not. You have to go and tell every kid you see that there's no such thing as Santa Claus. Yes, the kids will cry, but you should never be blamed from the hurt that comes from the lies of others. If you do this, future generations, they will, what is it? What's that right here? Future generations will teach kids to act on facts and not beliefs. So, while you're at it, tell kids that there's no such thing as Jesus either. Might as well kill two birds with one stone. Or as the religious say, let he who is without sin kill two birds with one stone. So, how did I want to end this? Save your applause until after I finish this. We do not need one day of the year to have a reason to be nice to each other.